Okay, please welcome with me Mr. Shoaib Ahmed, Middle East and Africa Operations Manager for BZAF Middle East, MEA. He will be giving a talk on video advertising. The floor is yours, Mr. Shoaib.
Afternoon, everyone. I hope you're still awake. We're going to discuss online video advertising and what it's about. The title of the topic is Video is Branding. I think that video is all about branding and engagement. So we're going to look at, first of all, the first question I have is, why is branding important to advertisers? So we'll look at video and what video can offer. But before we answer the question, I want to show you an image. This image, maybe when they put it up, very old image, but branding started, I think personally, with TV. You would have new audiences watching something that they've never seen before, listening to something that they've never heard before. So with that, now what we actually have, what used to actually happen at that time is advertisers used to serve ads and brands used to pay for it and people used to watch it. Next slide. So this guy used to come up on TV, and because people didn't actually see him or hear of him, they actually used to watch it. But as times have changed, things have moved forward. We're no longer in one screen, we're across multiple screens, which means now for a brand, you're able to touch a user at different digital touch points, giving a much bigger message and more visual experience. So, back to my first question. This is one of my answers, which is the brand is the most valuable asset. You look at what brands are doing in the market. You look at how they engage with the user. And one of Henry Ford, one of the guys that, go back, who was all about branding when he launched his car. There's a very famous story about Henry Ford. One year he didn't do well in sales selling his cars. When he was in his board meeting, he said there's one thing that isn't reflected on my P&L, and that actually is what users think of my brand value. So that's why a brand is very important. Exactly like the next slide that I will show you. This is Cadbury's. Mondelez bought Cadbury's for about $19 billion. My question to you guys is, did they buy it because of the chocolate? Was the recipe that good? No, they actually bought it for the brands. So the brands have meaning. In my next slide, this is a survey done last year in the States. There's about 5 brands from Apple in there. One of them wasn't even in there last year in 2013. There is now. What Apple is good at is very good at branding. What you'll also see in the next slide, I have to keep on saying this, is brand is also a sales driver. I mean, probably half of this room has an iPhone. And there was a study done in the UK from a company that, how much was it? No. How much was the percentage? Well, there was a certain amount of percentage of people that said they bought blindly without looking at the product or researching it. So that's why a brand can be a sales driver. Now, for my last one, what I feel is a powerful branding message is connecting the product to consumer. I feel the future of branding and future of advertisers is about creating real connections. There's this video that I'm going to show about what I feel is about connecting an audience and a user.
missing?
It's a little bit long.
What do you miss?
The halves?
Bear with me.
Are you going back for the holidays?
We just couldn't budget it.
My mom is like really sad that I'm here.
It'll be hard because it'll just be the four of us, and we're used to about 25 people. So my son is very sad that we're not going home. But
We have an announcement. We have an announcement.
Because we are in the holiday season, I'd like to take this occasion to offer everybody here present this evening a round.
There's more to the story. When we say a round, we mean round trip tickets for everyone to go back to Canada for the holiday season.
Okay, we can stop it now. Okay, that for me was a great piece of branding that Air Canada did. It involved interaction, and it also involved getting people to like their brand. The next picture that I was going to show was the most retweeted picture on Twitter ever from the Oscars, I think 2013 or 14. But what a lot of people don't actually know is Samsung actually paid for this. Samsung paid $20 million to host the Oscars. And the very next day after the Oscars, on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Samsung showed a video of how they created this selfie. So it's very powerful how images and videos combined can create a real conversation. But what we also got to do is understand video, and especially branded video content, and what's its purpose. The main sole purpose of video from a user's perspective is to be entertained, and it's to be engaged with, and the user is engaged. But also what we can add into the mix is making sure it's shareable. Without the content being shareable, we're not going to be able to influence the users or the audience. So these four key elements create a really good branding piece of video. So what are the successes for 2015 in video? So first of all, for me, and I hope brands will take this and adapt to it, is telling a story. In the previous discussion, they discussed about what sort of results they wanted to achieve through Productmatic. No, I think with video, it's the opposite. It's what story do you want to tell, not what should my results be. You know, you're going to only set yourself up to fail if you're expecting, you know, 1 million downloads or to sell 50 million cars or whatever. Instead, how can I tell a story about my car or about my product? And then what you need to do is build a plan. The plan needs to consist of how we're able to tell that story. One thing, you know, we have a lot in this industry is two different pieces of content. You have the short form and you have the long form. You need to look at where your audience is and where it best fits to run that piece of content. But also to make the content great, you've got to build an emotional connection. Like that video I showed earlier, they created an emotional connection with the users. I mean, albeit they gave them free tickets, but these users will still remember the day that they got free tickets to go back home for Christmas. I'm going too fast. Okay, yeah, you can go to the next one now. Sorry, guys. This is a study done about short form content. Like I said, there was two types of content, long form and short form. The great thing about short form, it forces brands to get to the point, get your message across. 46% of users said they'd like to see an ad between 1 to 15 seconds. So brands now, they actually need to make pieces of content tailored to different sort of platforms. If anyone's on Vine, you'll see audio. They have 6 second videos about how to do dunking cookies, for example. As already said, you know, long form video content what its purpose is for is to tell a story. It automatically uses the right platform. Everyone here has a Facebook account, and what you see on Facebook, or what I see, is a video that's never less than a minute long. That's because that video has been created and it's been placed in the right platform. And the other great thing is for a brand to tell a long form story, you already need to have your audience. So you should start with building that audience and have it. But a lot of the times we see brands they get stuck in between the both of creating long form and short form. And my answer to that would be, don't worry about that, think about the quality. Some of the advertising videos that we see are not, the best of quality. So go for quality, not for quantity in video content. So for 2015, what must we do to get our videos out there? First of all is making sure your content's getting shared. This is very, very important. It acts as a word of mouth. Everyone, again, I'll use Facebook. Someone posts a video, it's your friend, you go and see it. Someone on your Twitter, the timeline, they shared something, you go and see it. It's exactly like a referral and word of mouth. This is how brands should adapt sharing content and finding users to share their content, because it is also added and free value. Having a look at the user's behavior, this picture summarizes what the guys were talking about before, about an audience and a user. They're not in one place. They're absolutely all over the place. They could be on social network, they could be on blogging, they could be on creating content, they could be on Instagram. So the user is not in one place anymore as it used to be. So you need to make sure your video is hitting all those right parts and right environments. So some things to remember when planning a video campaign or creating a video campaign. Which we said, you need to reach the new audiences, and they're not in one place. Nobody here goes on the same website every single day and doesn't go on everything else. You go on different places. And for brands as well, this is very important. Thinking that 95% of your audience is on abc.com is probably not true, because there'll also be those users elsewhere. With that, again, what you have to remember is users are always in control of what they share and what they see. So for this, I would say use a pulling technique, not a pushing. Don't bombard them with your video advertisements. Again, use the right platforms to tell that message. One of the things that they mentioned in the previous one was about the devices, and I said the same thing. Device shouldn't be an issue. It's irrelevant. You're finding an audience, and wherever that audience is, you must make sure your campaign or your videos are being run on those devices. And also give the users what they want. You'll see a lot of brands now, when they're creating video content, because they've created an audience. Even if anyone here subscribes to sort of YouTube vloggers, they're updating video content every single day, giving the users what they want, which is more content, fresh content. And that's what brands need to do. They need to keep giving the users pieces of content. But the last and most important thing for video is you've got to be meaningful about your content. Someone's going to give you 30 seconds, a minute of your time. You need to make sure they get something in return, whether it's building an emotional connection, whether it's building some sort of competition. And another thing that I would add is this doesn't go for large brands as well. It can also go for smaller brands. Like today, if anyone was here just before lunch when they were doing the pitches, I'm surprised I didn't see anybody produce a video about what their product is. A video captures audiences. It gets people to listen and watch. So be meaningful with your video content for 2015. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shoaib. Right now we're going to have a short coffee break, and afterwards we're going to have two very interesting talks, one by Microsoft around the Internet of Things, and another talk by BankMed, and finally a panel on the technology in banking. See you after the break.